and I have only just barely pushed myself out of it. Okay, this pan is in fact cold. I just put my everything into a cold pan. Lid on, heat on. Then we don't move it. We don't move it at all. The lid allows the broccolis to steam, and not moving them allows the bottoms to blacken slightly and get a little bit of char. And the flavors are already in there, so once we're done, we will just, I have dropped stream. What the hell? Y'all with me? Say something if you can hear me. I've got Flemish back. I don't know what that was. I looked over and my view count was at 0, my bit rate was at 0, and my session time had reset. Now OBS says I'm good. Ryuya has not reconnected. That's not a good sign. My view count briefly jumped back to where it was and then shed like crazy. Everything's green on my end. I have got to figure out what the hell keeps causing that internet drop. That is, and it's going to interrupt my VOD. Damn it. Anyways, some of you are back. I'm going to carry on. We need to crush this guy so he's less of a cloud and more of a cake. We're going to use the pan that we're actually going to cook them in, which is this one. That has been smooshed. Okay, and our broccoli is just about ready to come off the heat and sit to the side as well. If we slide over, you can perhaps see it under its glass protection. There should be, yeah. Little delicious blackened edges on the bottoms. And that is the simplest, most tastiest broccoli I know how to do. I'm going to put the lid back on it to keep it warm on it's off the heat. And Isosceles, you are first, but also we had a stream crash just 6 minutes ago. So I congratulate you, but you missed out on being first twice today. Because no one claimed it before the crash. Also, hi, Isosceles, welcome. That is the second internet blip today. We had one earlier that did not fully crash the stream. The second one fully took down the stream in a way that I am not happy about. Rayuya is back and stuttering. If you're still stuttering, I don't know where it's coming from because my bitrate is good and has been for about 5 minutes. So I would say Rayuya should refresh because I no longer think that. I think you're still clearing out the buffered, choppy gunk. Bookwoman is also okay. Also, hi, Bookwoman. I gotta figure out. The problem is I'm splitting a message. Let me read this one out loud to unnamed. I mean, they have a name, but I'm not going to say their name. Sent today at 1 minute ago. I really love your play games so much, to be honest, keep it going. I appreciate it. I'm not playing a game. But I do appreciate that you love it. So thanks, and thanks for the follow. But sending messages, DMs to the streamer while they're live is a little bit gauche. Because it pops up. Okay, our broccoli and our grits are done. I have no idea how long actually I do. Our stream has been going for an hour. Part 3 is our lion's mane steak. Which, if you missed it, I did smash it flat. Here it is. It's no longer a cloud. Now it's a squished. We do need to oil the pan. Okay, so we heat this pan up like we're going to do a steak. Cooking could be considered a game, I suppose. True. Um, it does make me think on my feet a lot. Um, and actually, a game type that I like to play and have considered doing here on the show, because I always consider, can I put something else in here? And then I never do. And then I talk about it, and then I never do it. But puzzle games. I love puzzle games. Um, and I feel like I could get away with doing puzzle games because I can talk during them without like talking over game dialogue, game sounds. They tend to be very puzzle games tend to be very not. Also, I think my computer probably could handle running a puzzle game and streaming at the same time without catching on fire. So we are heating up that pan. We're only doing one mushroom. And we need a steel spatula, which we have, which is the right size for our mushroom as well. It's a little bit like a puzzle game, I suppose, with the troubleshooting, problem solving as I power through the nonsense. Casually cooking and playing puzzle games. I was thinking not while I was cooking, unless that is one thing, because there are certain recipes where I just don't even consider trying them here on the show because they would take so much time, and a big chunk of that time would be waiting for something like a braise or slowly letting yeast rise. We've done some fast rises, but some of those recipes call for a slow rise. Things that take a long time. Having something else that I could divert to while we wait would be very handy. And maybe throwing a puzzle game in, because then I've got a chair. I've got a chair that I can put here so I could sit at this level with you guys and not have to rearrange everything. That pan is hot. Yep, and the oil just flows when it hits the pan. So the pan is ready to go. I do have a recipe up from the Today Show. Oh, that's odd. Recipe from the Today Show for lion's mane. We're starting with it just in the pan with some oil. Split to multiple streams, prep, do a different dish. Maybe. There are definitely some things that take very long periods of time. Like, I've made baguette here with you guys, but you didn't get to see the start of it because the start of making baguette is 18 hours before that. supposed to keep this guy on this side for 2 minutes, flip him, get the other side, and then we're going to start adding our flavor goop. It's a very goop. I can smell it. I definitely don't want to burn it. So we're going to take a peek at the other side. It's getting golden brown. In a nice way. Your stuttering is back. Okay, this time it's got to be you because all my stuff is exactly the same. I haven't dropped anything this time. There's some interruption in between me and you. In addition to the big drop. We're pressing this guy down. Try to make sure he maintains his flatness while we work. But we're going to start gooping him. Get gooped. Delicious, delicious goop. Ooh, we're getting some smoke. I got the AC running, that should help. Let's close this door to contain the smoke a little bit. This is our flavor goop from the very beginning. This says brush. I spooned. I spooned. Take that, The Today Show. It's something, yeah. When we had the big drop, I lost. Like that was obviously on my end. I completely dropped. OBS even said I completely dropped. I just lost it. But now I'm solid, so it's somewhere in between. My goop is. I would say my goop is burning, but also my goop is burning me. We might have to resurface this pan after this. This is not being kind to it. The goop is sticky. Okay, now I'm supposed to, for the final step, swivel this guy over here and keep the pot holder handy, is take all of the remaining goop into the pan. And start basting like you do with a steak. Which isn't super working. I don't know that this method is all that flawless. The Today Show, calling you out again. Oop. And our top side is getting a little bit charred. I don't want this to be in there too much longer, or we... Oh, I did burn myself a little bit. The stuff doesn't want to baste because it's got too much solids in it. It doesn't look bad, but our flavor stuff is very much sort of forming a burnt, sticky mass. That side looks pretty good. That side looks a little bit on the blackened side. If I take some of these guys, put them on this side, we can kind of smash them in and pretend we got a crust on both sides. Okay. That's probably what we're looking at for our finished dish. I can't imagine it's not cooked through to the middle. It's not like a beef steak where you're shooting for a certain level of doneness. You're just shooting for doneness because it's mushroom. It's very difficult to overcook. Well, not very difficult to overcook. It's harder to overcook, and overcooking it isn't as big of a detriment. Ow, that really, I burnt myself a little bit. Yeah, okay. That's got to come off of the heat and rest. I didn't pick a plate in advance. Thing's kind of dark, so we're going to go with a white plate. I think we're going with a square plate. Okay, this guy, he's getting plated. That was hot. Pardon me, one moment. I'm back. Okay, join me here. These little burnt bits are less solid than they look. Actually, they taste really good. They taste a little bit burnt. Good, but also burnt. Well, I suppose this is what you get when you do a Today Show recipe. They're not the chefiest over there. Okay, that needs to rest for a minute before we do anything to it. So in the meantime, I had a plan to make our cheesy grits slightly fancier. Because they will have set up by now. There they are. Ooh, and they still got a good softness to them, which is good. I didn't want them to be completely gelled, which they will do after they cool. But keeping the lid on helps mitigate that. Look pretty good. Looking pretty good. We're going to put them into this ramekin. Kind of smooth out our top a little. And if you'll remember, I reserved some cheese. I'm going to tuck in the little strands so they don't drip over the side because I don't really want them. Well, we could let them droop over the side just a little bit as a treat. Just a little bit as a treat. Parsley and butter. No, I'm topping them with cheese, and then we're going to broil this sucker. We're going to broil this sucker and get him bubbly and brown on the top. Use my tiniest tray. Put him right in there and smash that oven on to broil. The oven's cold, but it still shouldn't take very long. In the meanwhilst, boy, that doesn't. It looked better once I cut it up a little bit. Think about my plating. I want the grits to be there. sesame chili broccoli. Lick my spatula. Oop. Pooling some oil. That's fine. That's fine. Sesame chili broccoli. I'm pooling quite a lot of oil. We might have to clean up the oil a little bit. I think I shouldn't have scraped all of the oil from the pan onto the plate. Put it that way. Try to figure out what the slope is. Okay, I think I went overboard with the oil. Slightly. Just a smidge. just a lake of oil. Okay, the cheese has all melted, as a good freshly grated cheese should. But it has not yet browned, and that's what I'm looking for. I want some browning. Tiny fruit fly. One tiny fruit fly has graced me with his presence. Okay, that's a little bit more tamed. I'm not going to completely go nuts with de-oiling it. We're just waiting for our cheese to develop some spots on the top, and then I'm going to plunk the ramekin right there, and we're going to call it done. Oh. Definitely still not up to full speed after last week's terrible. Oh. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We're definitely like 70% there. And hey, we got a little bit extra cheese. Oh. Didn't mess up the plate. Didn't mess up the plate, just messed up the bottom of the bowl, which is fine. I'm just going to eat the rest of this cheese. Mmm. Colby. From Colby. And other than the pan, our cast iron is definitely... our cheese is bubbling, which is the first step towards browning. Our cast iron is going to need some TLC after this, I think. Although it doesn't look like I scraped into the seasoning at all. I just have to make sure that this gunk doesn't harden in place. got to be the miso, right? It's the only other thing in there that was a substantial quantity. Because butter will brown, but it doesn't make these big, like, chunky bits. Sure, I can write that one up. It's very simple. It's my favorite way to do broccoli. It's so easy. I should just up with a little bit of sesame seeds, but it's really three ingredients. The heart of it is just three ingredients. And one of the most basic methods. It's exactly the, and I came up with it myself. It's exactly the kind of thing that I should be putting on a website. Now, it ideally would have been served right when it was done. It's gone a little bit over, so it lost its bright green. But it'll still taste good. I think our grits are ready to come out of the oven. Turn the broil off. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Behold, observe. Look upon my works and weep. In order to get that onto my plate, I'm going to use this. There you go. And then you would observe it from this side. I wish it was up a little bit further. Or if broccoli was around a little bit. Let me go take a quick picture. Let me go take our glamour shot. Oh, I should. The lump of mushroom does not look like anything sat here like this. So before I take the glamour shot, we're going to cut into it to demonstrate to the camera what it is. Looks perfect. It looks perfect. I think Ryu is slightly delayed. You're probably all slightly delayed. But yes, slice the mushroom so that it doesn't look like just a lump. Where did I put my phone? Is my phone? Okay, and it's that simple. We're coming back, and we're coming back, and we're tasting. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're going to taste this main event mushroom first. It cut really nicely. The fuzzy part of the lion's mane gives you this slightly fibrous texture. It kind of tricks you into thinking you're looking at meat. Mmm. Mmm. Oh, that's so interesting. Lots of stutter still. Not from me. I don't know where it's, I don't know. Mmm. You're never going to fool anyone thinking this is meat. Doesn't taste like meat. Doesn't taste like seafood. I disagree with the people who think that lion's mane tastes like seafood. It has a texture similar to seafood. This has a texture like a slightly vegetal, slightly like lobstery texture. There's a little bit of fiber, a little bit of bite to it, but no crunch. Our flavor group definitely burned a little bit. There's a little bit of char in there, but I don't hate it. It's giving a bitterness that nothing else on this plate should. There might be some from that. The whole point of charring those like that is the bitterness. You can't see it from the top, but the broccoli oil has merged with the bottom of the grits and formed a ring of oil. Definitely put too much oil on those. So it tastes like mushroom, but it's rich and meaty. It's got a good bite and a good chew. And it's got a lot of savoriness from all that stuff that we put in there. And I think that lion's mane without butter is kind of flat. The flavor really wants to go with some fattiness. So you really need to add some fattiness. And I think butter also has the nicest flavor to go with your lion's mane. This other guy, we're not going to cook the same way, but I do intend to use butter on it regardless. If you can find the lion's, I would say that this glaze recipe was not the greatest. A lot of it burnt. I would be more inclined to actually like do a sauce, a glaze, do it as a sauce on the top, and be simpler with the actual mushroom and stick with mostly butter and salt. Because I think all the other savory elements that they tried to cram in there just burnt in the pan. I even had the heat way lower. They had the heat on high. I had the heat on medium, and I still burnt everything. Try these broccolis. They've faded a little bit. Still got some of their brightness. They faded a little bit while they were sitting there. Mmm. Now I knew what those were going to taste like because I love doing them like this. These simplest things is so tasty. What if I breaded it? You'd still have to smash it down because a big ball like this wouldn't work. So you'd still smash it flat, but then treat it like a cutlet instead of a steak. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Because that's one of the things lion's manes have going for them is they are quite sturdy. So they don't taste like meat, but you can use them like meat on the plate because they're very sturdy. That stuff is fantastic. I definitely put too much oil on it, which is now migrating around the plate every which way. But hot dang. The trick with these guys is more technique than just ingredients. So I will definitely remember to post my recipe for these. And like, I'll tell you the right amount of oil instead of the way too much amount of oil. Okay, part 3. We have a crust. We have a crust like a creme brulee, but with cheese. Oh, actually, the toasty cheese on the top gives you an interesting side point. The stuff inside is just like creamy comfort food. It's just like it's a lightly cheese flavored porridge. But this top doesn't just look nice. It provides a contrasting flavor and texture because it's chewy. It's not crunchy, it's chewy. But it also has this toasty flavor to it. It's definitely going to be harder to eat as I go because it's going to start to solidify. But look at the top of my head a few times. That was a good idea, and it fancies up the plate a little bit. Instead of just having the grits be as a blep, a blop. Good stuff. I wouldn't say this is the most ambitious dish, the most ambitious plate of food I've ever made. I really just wanted to use up those the lion's mane because you got to get them while they're fresh. If they dry out, they're not the greatest dry. This one's already a little bit dry, so I'm definitely going to want to use it tomorrow right off the bat. Oh, this is a good idea with that too because the broccoli is spicy because of those chili flakes. And the polenta being creamy and cheesy offsets that. Isn't the prettiest plate of food in the world, but it's a tasty one. It's not ambitious, it's not pretty, but it's tasty. What more could you ask for, really, when it comes down to it? I've completely lost all of my session times because of the blips. So before we blip out again, I think I'm going to ship you guys off. Keep looking at the food while I find somewhere to ship you. Who is on? Robster is on. Skier, Odd Girls. Oh, Shining Spear is on with one viewer playing Undernight for 6 seconds. No, 6 minutes. That's a possibility. quesadillas, meal prep, pistachio Nutella, nacho rice cooker cheesecake, Concord grape, and then it trails off. That's a lot of things to be all at once. 4 hours in. I feel like they might be coming to the end of that one. Um, I'm going to take us somewhere I have not for a time. We're going to go see So Everdream. Could I use the chili crisp with the broccoli? Yes, there are chili crisp in the broccoli. I used this. I used this with that. So we in fact used spicy chili crisp. But you can do it with regular flake as well. I'll write it up in the thing. I don't know what's going on with Ryu's connection. It's something in between here and there because I had some blips, but Ryu had even more blips. So that's unfortunate. Glad you could be here. Glad you could all be here. Glad you stuck with me through the blips. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the resub. Thanks to Isosceles for being first. And I guess I will see you around. Wednesday's a holiday. Well, kind of. So I might do something for Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Pray for sleep. Let me pop my face up real quick before it times out. I'm going to say bye.